Good morning, everybody. Today is a great day. My name is Stu Turley, President and CEO of the Sandstone Group. Not only is it a great day, I get to visit with a CEO of ComboCurve, and I have to give a little bit of inside baseball. I'm a huge fan of ComboCurve because ComboCurve allows us to take information and make financial projections, and you guys saved me a bunch of pain. Armand Paradis, thank you for coming in. You're the CEO and I believe co-founder too, aren't you?
Absolutely, yeah. Co-founder and CEO of ComboCarve.
Fantastic. I'll tell you, what prompted you to start ComboCurve?
So, Stu, first of all, thank you so much for having me on your show. Really appreciate it. And I'm a petroleum engineer. All my career has been in the oil and gas. Super passionate about the industry and the people. So, it all started from my day-to-day workflow. When I opened up, I'm a reservoir engineer. So my job is to forecast, figure out how much production we have in time, and then figure out how much reserve we have, figure out where area we want to invest, and how we want to invest our capital effectively. So when I started my job, I started doing a lot of simulations and things like that. And when the reserves time came, my asked me to go ahead and start forecasting in Aries. And when I opened up Aries, I felt like I went back in time. I was like, is this really happening? Is this 2015? Like, I thought really I'm back in 70s. And
Wow.
it's just like, I figured a lot of software that we're using is pretty much very outdated and is really stuck
Right.
back in time. And that was the whole motivation behind ComboCurve to start a software company that pretty much go ahead and replace all this existing legacy solution from 30, 40 years ago that we use every day to make multi-million and multi-billion dollar decisions every day.
I'll tell you, your software integrates in, and when you're able to do the reserve reports, you're able to put in the financial analysis. You can sit down and say, we want to do strip pricing versus what it is today. I've always had to visit with CEOs and they want to put in what the price is today, like $120 oil. And they're sitting there
Yeah,
going, hey, give us the report. No, you got to use strip pricing.
yeah.
And so when you got this as a co-founder and everything else, how did you know? I mean, because you got your master's here, is that correct? Or your degree?
Yes, in petroleum engineering, yeah.
Petroleum engineering. And then how did you get to the writing of the code? Because if
Mhm.
the oil and gas industry is not known in for doing a lot of things, if it works, they're going to leave it there for a
Yeah.
long time. So
Yeah.
how did you get your programming experience?
So yes, I mean that was the whole mentality that I wanted to change. You know, a lot of people believe if something's not broken, don't fix it. So, um, yeah, so you're 100% right. Like a lot of petroleum engineers, they don't uh, move to the coding and all that stuff, right? Because it's
Right.
totally different career. So most of the time, we are dependent on some software companies from California and come and write codes for us. And I figured this is not optimum because they don't understand our workflows. Like we can
Right.
solve our own problem and we can take that initiative and be proactive.
Right.
And so yeah, I start training myself to be a programmer, a Python programmer. So, and a lot of reservoir engineers these days actually getting more and more familiar with coding and programming, which is amazing. You know, so
Right.
I think as engineers you have to learn how to code, and then I started learning that myself, and I figured I can code a lot of my own problems,
Right.
but I figured long run the only way you can solve this is having an actual software company to build everything fundamentally right.
Right. So, you nailed it with the oil and gas folks when they don't want, if it works, they just want to leave it alone.
Yeah,
And they've not bypassed those kind of things. So
yeah.
your experience with old software and then experience in trying to do financial forecasting and things, that basis as being a guy on the other side, on the user side from now, I didn't push the buttons, but I sat in a lot of meetings and I guarantee you, I saw all this. And I mean, I was over here going, we'd be dead meat without it. So now when we're looking at evaluating new properties, we're evaluating these things, the data that you can snag and drop in there, how are you looking? Because I think you're looking at going international, aren't you?
Absolutely. Yeah, we already are international. We have majority of our client, more than 95% are US based, but
Right.
we are expanding internationally as well. We're expanding the Canadian market and South American market and also European market.
Fantastic. Now, how does the well information and the reservoir information, because we've got other sources here, it's pretty well established. I'm not sure what the reservoir data sets are in South America or Canada.
Yeah, so what our platform is data agnostics, so as
Oh,
you know, we don't provide data. So for us, as long as there's a wellbore, so it won't matter fundamentally. So any wellbore makes some oil and gas,
right,
and then what our platform does, it will allow you to forecast that oil and gas productions into future, and also perform very detailed economics on top, and also we release our emission forecasting and carbon forecasting module, which with the same button that you run your economic projection, you can get
right.
your emissions as well, which is these days are those forecasts are very crucial for everyone, for the government, investors, and the banks.
Now, ESG is very critical for the oil and gas and the investor right now. And I believe you have a new product that just came out, and I believe it's
Carbon.
Carbon. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
absolutely. Yeah. So what we see is to do your reserve, you take a lot of data from the operators. You take production data, weather data, a lot of economics and financial data.
Right,
So, and also a lot of planning data in terms of your futures locations, like when you want to drill, how you want to drill those wells. So all those impact your emission. A lot of people don't know, if you change your production forecast, or if you change the timing of those wells, when they're going to be drilled and how you want to drill them, it would
right,
directly impact your emission into future. So we integrated emission forecasting with the reserves and economics, and they are inseparable. So
wow,
with the same button, like you getting your reserve report and your economics and cash flows, you will
right,
get you getting your carbon report as well. So and the beauty of it is, right now for emission reductions, there's so much noise in the market. There's so many initiatives and there's so many
right,
projects that you can go ahead and do. By shuffling through all those projects and figure out which one is the most impactful and which one it gives you the
right.
most bang for your buck. And that's what our software helps. So it basically helps you to substantiate all those emission reduction
Right.
goals, and to show how you can do it bottoms up.
I'll tell you, that is so cool, because knowing the power of how you can do your financial forecastings, and my head just exploded.
Yeah.
Because when you can sit down and then tie in this, the Biden administration just put out some things for being able to go to stage one. You have to have this by 2030. Stage two is where it's going down the pipe, and the oil companies are going to be responsible for this. And then at the
Mm-hmm.
refineries, how can you, now they're saying you have to be responsible for the cars on the end at stage three. You
Mm-hmm.
know, that is a nightmare for folks trying to figure out what
Mm-hmm.
is happening. There's no ESG without accountability. And
Absolutely.
Combo Carbon provides a good step to that, doesn't it?
Absolutely. So you nailed it, Stu. So a lot of these initiatives right now, it becomes very, very important these days. So like right now, asset evaluation without emission reporting, to
Right,
me, it's just not as like it literally impacts your asset evaluation. So the same field and same asset that can make, let's say, 10,000 barrels of oil per day, and then it generates
right,
$100 million cash flow, let's say yearly. Uh, if if it has a lot of higher emission intensity versus another field that has lower intensity, the
Right.
valuation is different. So right now, if you want to exit your asset, the company who wants to buy your asset, they definitely need to look into your emission to see if it
Right.
has positive or negative impact on their overall company's emission reports. And this is
Right.
not going to slow down. This is getting more and more important and more serious. And every day, banks,
Right.
auditors, and investors, everybody will require that, and they are requiring it as we speak. And
Right.
it's great that our industry is getting more and more proactive, because a barrel of oil that's produced in the US definitely has lower emission in compared to counterparts in the Middle East and then Russia
Oh,
and other
yep.
part of the world. So if us staying proactive and getting more proactive, actually it has tremendous values
Yep.
for the purchasers, because the purchasers, they're looking to buy oil and gas production that has lower emission. And I
Right.
definitely believe in the US we can get to a point that we have zero carbon emission oil and gas, or even
Right.
negative emission oil and gas.
When you sit back and you take a look at a reserve report, you get the ability to do your forecasting and your modeling. And when you're doing M&A and you're trying to figure out who's going to buy what, that is so cool to be able to say, wait a minute, this is our score. This is
Yeah,
where we're at. And
yeah.
oh, by the way, we're cleaner than that field over there.
Exactly. Yeah, it's true. Like you're 100% right. Like right now, if I'm, let's say, a big operator like a lot of smaller operators obviously exit into bigger operators, correct? And these bigger
Right.
operators are normally have other stakeholders, such as if they're public, obviously the investors and everybody look into your emission report. So you're always inclined to buy assets that lower your emission and has negative impact on your emission, so you reduce
Right.
your emission. So that's why it's very important to integrate your reserve forecast with the emission forecast, because they're hand in hand.
Oh, absolutely. So, what do you see from your customers? I know that, again, I keep running over here and screaming up and down, but what are you hearing from your customers about the M&A and what's going to happen in the next few quarters?
So yeah, so as we speak, like what's happening, the oil and gas prices in it is getting more and more stable. So
Right.
last year we had a lot of fluctuations, went from roughly 60 to 120, and then it dropped to around something around 70s. So
Right.
as the oil price stables around like these numbers, I think this is a great number. Around 70 is a
Right.
great number. Everybody makes money. So this M&A activities becomes more predictable, like
Right.
buyers and sellers bid and ask not going to be too far apart, and they can actually evaluate assets and come to agreement. So what I see in next year, I think this M&A activity is going to constantly stay hot, and,
Yep.
and I think a lot more deals can happen next year. So yeah,
Yep.
from that standpoint, I don't see a real slowdown. I see uh, a lot, same level or even hotter than this year.
When you're taking a look at your financial data and you're taking a look at that, um, people really enjoy your software from being able to take and bring in financial market information as well as everything else. Kind of like a one-stop shop. You integrate with Inveris. I want to make sure I'm not wrong in that you have a very good relationship with them. That's a lot of data to manhandle around.
hmm So yeah, so basically we can tie into different databases. Again, we are data agnostic, so we can pull data from many different sources,
Right.
internal versus public data providers. And right now we are sitting around 260 plus companies, and that
Right.
means 260 minimum 260 databases on the cloud, and we are managing all those databases. So it's a tremendous amount of data. And
Yes.
so you're talking about internal data and public data, and all types of data is coming to ComboCurve, and we are expanding. So our goal is to be basically allowing you to bring all your data in ComboCurve from again production data and wellheader
Right.
data and the emission data and drilling and scheduling data all in one platform.
Right.
Because again, we see all these data has to tie to each other to make decisions bottoms up correctly.
I'll tell you, seeing real world projects of having you being data agnostic, you were critical in being able to bring in SCADA, bring it in, transport it in, have the reports, translate that into finance. The finance crew did not work with everything else, and we were able to hook everything together.
Yep.
I mean, I'm sold on your data agnostic. I love that word.
Yep,
Um,
100%. Yeah. And then yeah, you 100% right. So we can get data right now from pretty much majority of the common data sources, and then
right,
and let you to access that data through our front end, and also access that through our REST API backend connections, so to get the full pictures.
right. Now, so if you've got your servers that are up, you're probably using cloud services,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not going to be a problem for you to go international. I mean, it doesn't matter anymore where you are.
Yep, 100%. Like right now, majority of the companies in the US, we have not got any pushback in terms of the cloud. So
Right,
international, Middle East, maybe a little bit, but overall, right now we can work pretty much with all the cloud providers. Right now, we are working with Google and Microsoft as we speak,
right,
and then also having working with their cloud in their zone, their region
right.
should not be a problem either.
Well, some of the bigger EMPs that I've worked with in the past, their data teams did not like the cloud.
Yeah.
And so you don't have a problem working with on their servers or their internal cloud, I'm assuming. So,
Yeah. So Stu, is believe it or not, like this was one of our biggest concern, and
yeah,
when we started the company, because we were building a cloud-based solution, and our perception was a lot of companies gonna say, "Oh, it's cloud. We are not comfortable with cloud." Believe it or not, we have not got any pushback around that. Like
wow,
companies are not concerned about that. And overall, if you think about it, cloud is definitely more secure than the on-prem. That's a lot of
right,
people have that misconceptions that the cloud is not secure. Actually, cloud is more secure because uh, none of the data resides on a personal computer, correct? So
right,
everything is on a database which is secured with multi layers of the accessing the data, and
yeah,
also data is encrypted. So it's not like somebody's taking your laptop, they can access data. It's just almost
right,
again, it's impossible to access that data. So
yeah,
and then we have two-factor authentication, we are SOX compliant, and then
right,
you add even having that, you have to deal with getting passed through MongoDB security levels and Google security levels. It's just
right,
so many layers to bypass to potentially get access to data that is unwanted by the client. So that
yeah,
that's just not easy. But desktop solutions definitely, in my opinion, they are more prone to to lose a ton of data. Like back in the day, somebody just steal your laptop, they can get all your data and all your,
yeah.
like you said, financial data, reserve data from your laptop.
Now, with data rooms and selling an M&A, your stuff is critical for those reserve reports and everything else, because everybody goes, if you're not big enough for a data room, the people don't want to know that. And you've got some great stuff in there for those data rooms when people need to sell things.
Yep. So what we made, so currently a lot of times when companies wants to send a project to each other, they just have to send an Aries database. Is a physical, like really you have to send a database. So our case is totally different. All you have to send is we call it the shareable code, and that shareable code is traceable. So you send the shareable code, and the other parties, they just use
Right,
that code and they get an exact replica of your project in their own environment. And then as you update your project, and if they go and re-import that code, all the changes will reflect. Versus uh, back in the days method, you have to actually upload a database to a shared data is shared, let's say location, and then give
Yep.
them access to that shared location. And then and a lot of times you run into the limitations of the how much data you can put in that shared environment. And the other issue is like uh, when they share, when they get a database and put it on the cloud,
Right.
normally they use an access database, which has limitation in terms of the amount of data that can handle. But however, in the cloud, you can have pretty much a huge, large, massive database and then share it live without actually
Right.
uploading the file.
Boy, I'll tell you, Armand, you absolutely fixed one of the biggest problems years ago with people with M&A. I
Yeah,
mean, the data rooms were not exactly very good, and some
yeah.
of the older guys were like, "Where's your data room? Is it down the hall?" No. So, no, it's not. So, but anyway, you
Yeah.
guys have really fixed that and have done well. What's coming around the corner for ComboCurve and ComboCarbon? What do you got coming up around the corner? Nobody's going to hear this except everybody on the planet. So I don't know if we need to sign an NDA or I'm kidding. What's coming around the corner for ComboCurve?
So yeah, so what for ComboCurve and ComboCarbon. So what we see, we are integrating many workflows to each other, but like I mentioned, workflows are connected. So when you want to forecast your company's productions and figuring out the cash flows for your budgets and reserve purposes, and
Right,
also M&A and A&D purposes. So you need obviously all your production forecasts, you need all your typecast, you need all your economics and all your economic data, and also your emission data and planning and scheduling data. So
right,
we are integrating all these again into a workflow that talks to each other, and then so different teams, they can collaborate. And then
yep,
our goal is to expand upon all these adjacent workflows and to build that ecosystems of the teams and within the company that they can collaborate. And eventually our goal is to connect even companies to each other, because a lot of works that is being done
yep,
in silos within the companies and within teams, once we get the company to talk to each other and they work in the same
right,
platform, so that will reduce a lot of inefficiencies from duplicating workflows and the
right.
works. And but we can expand that to the other industry and we can expand that to the companies to connect
Wow.
them to each other to reduce their repetitive work, because like you said, industry needs to be connected, and they, in my opinion, a lot of decisions that we are making is being done again in silos, but a lot of
Right.
those we can help out each other to make a more comprehensive and a more informative decisions by working together. So that's another thing that comes down the pipe potentially in 2 years horizon. But
Wow.
2023 for us is just connecting all these workflows within the company so they can collaborate effectively.
Well, that's really, I mean, that's pretty darn cool. What's coming around the corner for Armand personally? What do you got going on there?
Yeah. So, like this
There's a
year,
heavy,
yeah.
there's a heavy sigh.
So, still like past 4 or 5 years, I didn't have ton of time to even think on the personal level. Honestly, I was extremely focused on just building ComboCare, but this year, 2022, it was a major success for us. We went from we more than triple our client and more than triple our employee size and more than double our client base. So
Wow.
and we put an organization and structure in place that we can scale, and we put a lot of great leaders in place. So basically it will give me more time to basically to have time to network and go
Right.
potentially travel a lot more to present the company. So next year for me is a lot more traveling and then less getting involved into day-to-day workflows, and then just
You mean
presenting the
actually be a CEO? What's up
exactly.
with that?
So yeah, so that's what's going on like for the next year. So, but on the personal level, so I'm trying to figuring out hobbies that I love, So
Yeah.
and just recently I just discovered I like to uh, off-roading a lot. I just got a Bronco, so it's
Oh,
been pretty cool.
cool.
Yeah, so yeah, I am enjoying my Bronco these days. So
Oh, fantastic. I enjoyed my off-roading on a bike, but Armand, those trees just jump out. I mean, I didn't know trees would just jump off onto the trail and I kept hitting them. So,
no,
it was
yeah,
horrible.
oh
But
yeah,
um, you know, CEOs work a lot while they're doing this. And then now you're going to be able to reap the rewards and do the vision. You had a vision back here. Now
yeah,
you're going to be able to do the vision. And I can't even imagine what ComboCurve and ComboCarbon are going to come around the corner now that you're able to do that. That's pretty
yeah,
darn cool.
yeah, very very cool. It's still, if I go back to 4 or 5 years ago, we would never ever imagine to be at this place.
Right.
Um, it's just a good school, a good old school, hardworking, and then just being, and your reputation is always the most important thing that you have. So for us, if we say something, we definitely going to do it, and then that's a top priority for
Right.
us. And then we just work hard, and just we deliver quality work, and that's all that matters to us, and that keeps us happy and keeps us going. And then
Yep.
we pushing the standards higher and higher. We motivate our team and all of our employees that there's no can't. Remove the can't from your vocabulary. We want to be at the top,
Nice.
always at the top, not necessarily in our industry. We want to be the top software company in the
Right.
world, and it is possible. We are building super complex functionalities, and we're building in the cloud. We are using the latest and
Right.
greatest technology. So we're building this self-confidence for the company, and also for
Right.
the industry, that we we can be at the forefront, and we don't want to be always a lagger and always a
Right.
follower. So, and this is something we can do it. We can deliver the uh, very clean oil, the lowest emission oil in the world. United States is capable of doing it, and they're always
Right.
proven that they can do it. So these are great initiatives that we have to promote, and we have to promote the public about how useful oil and gas industries is. Like, historically, we did a very, honestly, bad job of educating the public. Then everybody um, thought very negative about oil and gas. We have to change this image, and then show the public that oil and gas is not just fuel that you can burn in your car. We are significantly above and beyond that. Everything around you is made from oil and gas. That's never going to go away. Even if you
Yep.
stop in burn, I think we have to stop burning oil and gas, because it's much more valuable.
Right.
Like, burning is not doing a favor to the products that we are bringing to the market. We can do so much great stuff with oil and gas, and that's something that never ever gonna go away. But
Right.
unfortunately, people don't know it. So we have to do a better
Yeah.
job in terms of educating, like people like yourself and myself. That's something that we can be a lot more proactive, and then educate the public.
Being an industry thought leader, you have I have to also give you a shout out. I've never seen so many connections between me and you and anybody I've ever met on LinkedIn. We'll have your LinkedIn in the show notes here as well. How can people get a hold of you and ComboCurve? Just combocurve.com.
I'm always available on LinkedIn. So message me on the LinkedIn, send a connection to me. I 99% of time accept your invitation. And so for me, reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And I also, my email is very straightforward. It's my first name, a.paradis at combocave.com. And also you can go to ComboCave and submit a request. But
Yep.
message
Cool.
me on LinkedIn if you want to talk to me.
I just want to give a shout out to your employees that I do know. They're top notch, and it starts at the leader, and you got some great employees working for you. So thank you, Armand, for stopping by. I do appreciate you. Thanks.
Absolutely. Stu, really, really appreciate. Thank you so much for having me, and really appreciate your time. And it was an honor to talk to you.
Well, thank you.